Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance, where people conform to the letter but not the spirit of a request. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some malicious compliance. Call again later? Okay. This happened in the Netherlands, and here is some relevant info. In our country, citizens who earn less than a certain amount of money and rent a cheap place have the right to housing benefits. This is to ensure that young people are able to move out and get their own place. These housing benefits are calculated and paid by the tax authorities, and their call center has a reputation for not being that helpful. Me and my boyfriend moved into a cheap, bad place, and we soon started getting mail for the previous tenant from several collection agencies. We sent them all back with "no longer lives here" written on them, and after a year most of the mail stopped. We kept getting mail addressed to him from the tax authorities but thought nothing of it. After all, how can this guy's debt affect us, right? Well, the story. One day, we received a letter from the tax authorities addressed to my boyfriend. It said that since a resident on our address earned €34,000, well above the max for housing benefits, that my boyfriend would no longer receive the housing benefits and had to pay it all back. The letter also asked us to pay the debt of about €2,000 in the name of the previous resident. My boyfriend earned about €16,000, and I was a poor student, so this was quite a lot of money, obviously. I called the tax authorities, shortened to TA from now, to get this resolved, and I was sure that whoever I spoke to would realise there had been some kind of mistake here. The first call center employees will all be named CE, previous tenant will be RG for random guy. Hello, how may I help you? Hi, I received a letter this morning, but it seems there's been a mistake. The random guy doesn't live with us. Okay, let's see. No, he really does live with you. I have proof of his residency. I think I would know if for the past 2 years I shared a bed with a random guy. Oh, maybe there has been a mistake. You need to mail us proof that nobody else lives at your residence. So, I set about getting that piece of paper from City Hall. After a few days, I got it and sent it to the tax authorities. A week later, I received a reminder letter to pay the money owed. I called the call center again. I mailed you proof that the random guy doesn't live with us, but I just received a reminder to pay. Yes, I see a note on your account that says, "Random guy has moved out, so you will need to pay for the amount you received while he lived with you, and you will receive your housing benefits again starting next month." What? I never lived together with the random guy. He got kicked out 2 years ago and then we moved in. Oh, then you need a different form from the City Hall to prove he moved out at that date. So, I went and got that different form. Again, took a few days. Calling the center again. I sent you this new form. Is the issue now resolved? Has the random guy finally been removed from my residence in your administration? Yes, we removed your boyfriend as per your request. You removed my boyfriend? Yes? That is my boyfriend. You were supposed to remove the random guy, the guy that lived here before we did. Please hold, ma'am. I have to ask my coworker about this. Then another call center employee came on after a few minutes. Hi, I hear that the wrong person got removed from your residence. Am I correct in assuming you and your boyfriend live there and the random guy does not? Me, super happy to finally be understood. Yes, that's right. Alright, I have now removed the random guy and added the boyfriend. You should be able to see this change in your account within 5 business days. The change did not show up in my account, so of course, I called again. Hi, I called last week. An employee said that he made some changes to my account, but I still don't see them. Oh, that takes up to 2 weeks. He misinformed you, sorry. After another week, no changes. Another call. I was told my issue should have been resolved by now, but nothing has changed. Can you please check if the person I spoke with earlier forgot something? Ah, yes, he never made any changes. Why didn't you call a week ago? Didn't you notice that nothing changed? Anyway, I'll fix it now. I did notice, that's why I called last week, but that employee said that it takes 2 weeks to see the changes. Next time, just keep calling till you get an employee willing to help you, okay? I waited another week, still nothing. I was now 1 week away from my case being sent to a collection agency for refusing payment. The malicious compliance. This time, I called and kept calling and calling and calling and calling. I called every hour on the dot to ask if they fixed my issue yet. I kept this up for 3 days until I finally got an employee who fixed it. The kicker? While he was on the phone with me, I could see changes being made to my account on the computer. It didn't even take 5 business days at all. This experience made me realize that being annoying can sometimes really help to speed things along, though I still prefer being nice to call center employees, and that the tax authorities were really dumb and unhelpful, as everybody said. It also taught me to document everything and write down the name of the person you're calling with, so you can file a complaint of request to talk to that person again later. I literally despise speaking to people on the phone. I would much rather just be able to go in and speak face to face, because that way they can't just ignore you, hang up or anything. Can you do overtime until we find someone to replace you? So this is not my story, but my buddy's. He works industrial work, and without giving too much away, he works a fairly essential position. Without him or someone to replace him, stuff can't happen. He works 12-hour shifts, 7 till 7. Policy is that you can work up to 4 hours overtime after a 12 and no more. So one day, he's working a graveyard and it's his Friday. His lead hand comes up to him at about 5 AM and says that his replacement on the next shift called in and asks if he could stay for some overtime. The lead hand says he can leave whenever his replacement arrives. My buddy agrees, and at 7 AM, the crew changes over. My friend hears nothing about his replacement, so he keeps on keeping on until 10 AM arrives. No replacement comes, so he hangs around a bit to see what's going on, as 10 AM is the cutoff time for overtime. No one says a word. The supervisor greets him and asks how the day is going. The lead hand does the same. It dawns on my friend that everyone totally forgot that he had worked nights and was there on overtime. So since the first lead hand had said he would be released when the replacement came, he decided to keep working until he either got too tired or someone noticed. He worked a full 12 hours on top of his 12. That's a 24-hour shift, with half of it being overtime. At 7 PM, the supervisor comes up to him and says that the next guy called in sick, and you guessed it, asks him to stay for overtime. Buddy wished he could have, but he was beat and told the supervisor, "Nah, I just did 24 hours because no one released me," and left. He got called into a few union meetings after that act of malicious compliance. I know people that do 8-hour shifts and get really tired at the end of that, and I could not imagine doing 24 hours, that's insane. What's the longest shift you guys have ever done? It hit the fan. To preface this, I work as a wastewater technician. My job involves taking a truck with a 600-gallon water tank and a diesel-powered compressor and blowing clogs out of sewer lines. Your toilet's back up? I'm the guy the city sends out with some big mad scientist gloves and rubber boots. I love my job, not because of the subject matter, but because of the laid-back way the job operates. And the pay and benefits don't suck either. So a few weeks back, me and my coworker get a call out to this house. I look up the address, find the lateral sewer line from the house to the main on the map, and then look at the call history. This one's a problem child, and the notes even make mention of the residents at this address being nasty and deliberately failing to follow instructions on sewer maintenance. The fact that someone actually had to give them instructions on how not to flush hand towels down the toilet really speaks volumes here. Actual cotton hand towels, not just wet wipes. I know they say they're flushable, they really aren't. Well, we get out there, and there's a city councilman waiting for us. Turns out that the resident is their relative, somehow. I didn't dig too far, and only found that out afterwards. Whatever, we do our job and check the city clean out, which is usually at the front of your yard under a little metal lid. Most people's are grown over by their lawn, and there's no flowing or standing water there. This is where our job should have ended. The city's responsibility only extends to from the sewer main to that clean out, no further. Well, the councilman starts telling us to run our line further up. I explain that we have to have the resident sign a waiver holding the city harmless for damages if we do that, and I have to get authorization from the wastewater department manager. The usual hoops, you know. He gets on the phone with my boss and starts rattling his cage about this. So, my boss calls me on my phone and says, "Look, I know you know that this is a bad idea, but do what he says, or he's gonna make our lives hell." I agree. The resident signs the waiver after we inform her of what could happen, and we start searching for the resident cleanout to push our line through and down to the sewer, so it'll clean the entire lateral line. Well, we can't find it. It's probably under the porch that was added sometime in the last 3 years, and we can't get to it. Councilman goes ballistic over this, of course, because how dare we peons impede his ability to impress his own family. I call my boss back and inform him of this, and he says, "That lateral runs into a manhole, right? Just go through the manhole and up towards the house." The reason that I really didn't want to do this is that the compressor on that truck pushes out water at something near 4,000 psi, depending on which head we have on the hose. But the big man hath spoken. I log my token objection while fitting the lowest pressure head I have, because to hell with this, and hang up. Me and my coworker open the manhole, find the end of the lateral, and run the hose to where we think the clog is. And fire. Suddenly, all kinds of stuff comes flowing out of the line. We cleared the clog. Yay us. We tell the resident to go flush her toilet so we can make sure it's flowing properly. She goes back in, and then comes storming out, screaming about suing the city. We've destroyed her home, etc. I don't need to listen because I already know what happened, and she'd been warned. The pressure blew back up the 4-inch wide lateral right up to her toilet, and out of it, along with everything in its way. It hit the ceiling, it hit the window, it hit the walls. Councilman blows a gasket, and I point out that she signed a waiver and that my boss has every call to or from his office recorded as a matter of official communication. So we have him ordering us to do this, and had informed both of them the risks prior. We then left and headed to the yard and left that guy screaming into a phone. My boss didn't stop laughing for at least 10 minutes after we got back. and started making photocopies of the waiver form we'd have the residents sign. I heard there was some kerfuffle about the whole incident at the next big meeting, and those photocopies were distributed, along with the recording of the councilman's call. I never heard of it going further than that. I actually would pay to see that. I really hope the bathroom has a fan in it, just so you know, it can literally hit the fan. Angry manager doesn't allow backtalk. When I was younger, I worked at a fast food restaurant. As a true SpongeBob, I really loved my job. I worked there really hard for 7 years. I was the fastest and most precise in the kitchen, and the fastest and most precise with doing the store's delivery. Managers usually didn't put me on the day plan when I was working, so I wouldn't be attached to one station and I would swap between the ones that needed assistance. I was pretty much running solo. In comes the new manager. The other managers inform him that I'm very stubborn, but if left alone, I'll make his shift easy. He sees this as a challenge to his leadership or something and starts giving me specific jobs, which I complete in no time and continue jumping around between stations. Eventually, he gets really angry at me and tells me that I'm only to follow orders and that I'm not allowed to backtalk to him. The next day, we work together again. He takes me to the back room and tells me to remove all the empty crates to the back, including the 2 below the fridge that have obviously been there for quite some time. I open my mouth to tell him that those crates are there because those 2 wheels on that fridge were broken. He just shoots this rage-filled look to me, and I close my mouth again. He goes away and I start cleaning. I rip the crates from under the fridge. The fridge falls over. Doors fly open and all the produce falls on the floor. Fridge also stops running. I stack the crates and move them to the storage area outside. I tell my manager I'm done and waiting for the next order. He goes to the back to check on me and gets angry at the mess. I wasn't allowed to explain why those crates are there. This is the result. He gave up the fight after that, and I went back to what I had done for 7 years already. We ended up having a good professional relationship after that. Yeah, there's not much to say on that, other than some people are just really stupid, aren't they? Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.